watching this very closely. Look at the watching the outbound tender rejection rates. So here I've brought up the NTI, which is the daily report. This is the one that hits every mark every day, no 7-day rolling average. And I'm comparing that to our OTRI because we saw the OTRI last week bounce up, and we're following if rates were going to follow as well. And you see from the 19th to the 24th here, we had a little bit of an upward movement in our NTI on the average. But then here, as of this morning here, we've dropped back down to 282. So that was probably kind of that little bump that we were going to see. We do have a few more days left before the month's end. We will see how it reacts, though. But remember, we have almost a 2.7 average tender lead time. So today and tomorrow, they're booking those loads for the end of the month. So we will see that here very quickly tomorrow and the next day. But and then, of course, we'll roll into that long weekend for the 4th of July. So we'll see how much this reacts. I do not expect a real big reaction in this. And kind of like what we saw right here, only a few cents. And that's because right now demand has fallen. Shippers are getting really close to controlling this market.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole key. I mean, if you look on this daily report of where over the past 7 days, majority of them are under where the NTI, that 7-day average is. So I mean, that's going to bring some of that downward movement even into what should be the second or third best week of the year.
Right, and that's what's, we've talked about this over and over and over. What's going to happen after the 4th of July? What direction is the market going? And we're scared that we've already called it.
Yeah.
All right, let's bounce in here to the next chart here right quick. I brought up outbound tender lead times versus our OTRI. I like outbound and tender lead times because this tells us what kind of pressure are the shippers under. The more pressure, they'll start pushing those outbound tender lead times out. And you look down here at the very end here, and you can see it's fallen as well. So shippers aren't under a lot of pressure. If they're not under a lot of pressure, they're not going to be paying those higher rates, which could be another, just kind of another indicator of why all this is kind of trending downward right now. You can see here the holiday, the end of the month for May, they pushed their rejection rates way out, but we didn't see that much of a reaction here. And that's just a good indication of they're not under a lot of pressure, which is going to be not so good for carriers that are out there trying to push their rates up. So fall back on your contracted freight.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this update, Donnie. We'll be sure to check in with you again a little later. Right now, toss it over to Sydney Edwards with our first look at headlines this morning.
To take over some